Good morning, guys. Welcome back to the channel. My name is Abby, and I warmly welcome you to the Caribbean and to my container garden here in Trinidad and Tobago. This morning, we are back at preservation experiments. I will be experimenting with a new tea from the garden. I have here in this um, baby bathtub, old baby bathtub, some lemon thyme taking over the entire thing. So I really need to cut it back and let it refill the bin again so that I can keep the plant in its best health. So I've never had lemon thyme. Well, if I don't like it in tea, I can always use it in seasoning, you know, culinary wise, other areas of the kitchen. So this morning I am going to be looking to harvest out all of this, and after that we are going to be drying some sorrel. Well, de-seeding and drying some sorrel. So I have never done this before, and I'm not quite sure how to cut it back. I'm thinking that I may uproot a good chunk of it, because I'm not seeing any area where I could just snip it. Not seeing any area where I could just snip it, but I'll try something here. Just cut this up, cut this back. What I am going to do is that um, I am going to leave an entire patch untouched while I harvest a good chunk of it. One thing that I've realized is that with a small container garden, it's important to really maximize on what you're getting from these limited spaces, these containers. So harvesting your produce at the right time, when it's at its best, is the best way to really get back from your garden. So now an in-ground garden, plants have a lot of nutrients to derive from. They could pull from anywhere in the ground, but in a container they're really limited. So taking the time out to harvest out your produce is the best way to go. Do we like seeing the bare patches? No, but we really do feel better knowing that we're getting the best out of our container gardens. Now, believe you me, I'm very nervous about harvesting all the fine thyme, so I left the patch back. So what I'm doing, I'm going to go and wash up these pieces of thyme and get ready for drying. Okay guys, so I have the fine thyme all cleaned up the best I could, got as most of the dirt out of it. So now we are going to using, I don't have a dehydrator, so we are going to be air drying today. So this is a air drying contraption. I love that it has this hook on top that you can hook it to wherever you want it to hook. You know, I like that. I like that a lot. Alright, so now that I have this here, I am going to open the fine thyme. The good thing about the tropics is that it's hot. It's always hot. Sometimes it could be wet. Where we live here in Trinidad and Tobago, when it's rainy season, it could be wet all the time, but really and truly things can and do dry out if you have it in a very secure area where, you know, water doesn't or moisture doesn't build up. So I'm just going to open out this fine thyme onto this drying rack like this, and I am going to hang it outside at first so that all this moisture could start to evaporate from it, and then later on I will put it on the inside where I can control it from bugs and stuff like that. But for now I'm just going to hang it outside because it's super damp and it's a really nice dry morning. This sorrel is considered a black sorrel. They're actually, to my knowledge, I'm not sure if there are more, but there are 3 different color sorrels. So you have this one, the black sorrel. It's so dark, it's almost black. You have the red sorrel, which is a brighter red, a more crimson red, and you have white sorrel, which is a whitish greenish color. So guys, this morning, I'm not even sure if it's afternoon yet, I am de-seeding these sorrel. I'm using the tip of a piping bag, you know, like when you're doing your frosting. It has a hole. I'm just using the tip. It's a plastic one. I pick up this trick watching some Vietnamese women, older woman. She had a metal one, and it wasn't quite as big, but she was de-seeding these sorrels in no time. And what I wanted was that I could be able to tie these up, string these up. So I wanted to have a cavity in the middle of the sorrel, so that when I string it up, that it will be dangling and not be touching one another, so that it can dry properly. So guys, I bought this sorrel for $6. How much was it? I bought 6 pounds for 25 TT dollars. So that's roughly $4.75, $4.50, roughly a pound. Yeah, roughly a pound. And that was really good. That's a really, really good deal. So it was selling on the side of the highway in Barataria, and I just had to I said, you know what, it's better that I pull over and buy. I bought $50 worth, which is 12 pounds of this black sorrel. And I immediately said, I buy dry sorrel, and a small sachet, a small pack that I buy, guys, literally about this size, in dried sorrel. And that usually costs about $16 for that little sachet. And that is just that little sachet. Look how much I've gotten here, guys. Granted, it is not dehydrated as yet, but I can guarantee you that I'll be getting way more for my $25, because this is $25 right here in sorrel. I'll be getting way more in worth in dry sorrel doing it myself. So there's one thing I like watching about YouTube for. I get to learn things. I get to see how people from different ethnicities and different parts of the world preserve their foods and survive. And in one of my previous videos, I mentioned that in the Caribbean, we are privy to so many things that we export, and people buy it from us, dry it, and send it back to sell it to us even more expensive. And a skill that we do not have is preserving. We don't know how to preserve our own stuff, our own good. And so this one is halfway, this petal starting to decay. And so my aim in this video is to encourage you to explore preservation of your goods, preservation of your foods, what you get from your garden, what you get in sale, in the market. Find ways where you can preserve it for yourself. So if you enjoyed me highlighting this, because sorrel is in season, and really and truly, guys, this is early bird gets the worm. It's not quite Christmas. It's in November, and so the these are called calyxes, sorrel calyxes or blooms. So the farmers, some of the sorrel trees bear earlier, and so it's not quite at the right time for them to make their killings, to make their money. And so they will sell the early crops cheaper, so that when the later crops come in and people really want it for the holiday season, they will then jack the price right up. So if you can get it earlier and try it, guys, as I always said, I think in the previous video, today's Saturday, the video that I released on Thursday, I find that when I dried certain things, that the flavor is so much better. I find that to be the case with sorrel as well. I do enjoy brewing dried sorrel for juices and for tea, more for juices. I do find that I do like the flavor a whole lot more. It is so much more mature, it's so much more enjoyable. So if you can come across sorrel on your own, or you're growing it in your yard, you guys can first of all try out this trick of puncturing the sorrel calyxes with this and just pulling the seed out. Now don't worry about your hands. As you go about the day, the coloring will wash out more and more. Especially as a mother, your hands are always in water, you're always washing something. So yeah, you can explore this option of doing your own drying. So I'm going to pick you guys back up when I am finished with this batch, and I'm going to share with you how I'm going to attempt, because this is my first time doing it. I'm going to show you how I'm going to attempt stringing up this, because I don't want it to be touching, and I don't have pans that will help me with the drying process. I don't have big space, something with enough square footage in order to dry it on a flat surface. So my aim is to use the strings, string them up, and to tie it up in my windows on the inside of the house, and that way if it rains, the moisture still doesn't get to it. I'll keep that window closed until I can get these dried really good. The pieces that are broken off smaller, like these pieces that are broken off smaller, I would probably make juice with them today, and or I would put those little pieces on a piece of tray. I think that would work out for those, and we'll go from there. I don't know, guys. I'm winging it. You guys, I just came up with an idea. Instead of having to string up these sorrels one by one, I'm going to attempt making a homemade drying rack with some of this chicken wire and see how it goes. So I'm going to make it in the shape of a rectangle, and I'm going to use some of the tool that I use in the garden to bug proof it, so that flies and different other bugs can't land on it while it's drying. I think it would be a good idea. So guys, it's 7 days later, and this is how the sorrel is looking. Let me take one off. So I did half and half, half on the string, quite cumbersome, a lot of tying up. I did half strung up like this, so you can see how it is looking dried. It's looking pretty good, guys. There's some dirt there. Of course, before we boil it, we will wash these up. We don't want too much moisture on it, but I'm still gonna leave it for it to get a little bit more crisp. But what is happening is that it is raining quite regularly. So what I'm gonna do, I also put some inside here. I'm going to take off all from the string, as well as this homemade drying rack. I'm going to take everything and I'm going to put it in this hanging basket, and I'm going to hang it on the inside, high up, away from the little hands. So because, well guys, I want to say that this experiment was a success. We're going to see together how much sorrel we got from 12 pounds of sorrel. How much dried sorrel we got from 12 pounds of sorrel. So guys, this is the final consensus of what we got from 12 pounds of fresh sorrel dried for myself at home. So guys, as you can see, I got way more than I ever would spending $50 at the grocery store for dried sorrel. So if you have a surplus in your garden, yes my son, no problem, I'll bring some juice for you just now. Yeah, give my mom 1 minute. So guys, if you have fresh sorrel in your garden, you can dry it for yourself. You don't have to store it in the freezer. You can just put it outside here in the tropics any time of the year. Once you keep it away from the rains, you will not have molding as an issue. But I am just going to keep this in the house for a couple more days because we had a few days of rain. And as you guys saw, I was storing this on the outside. I was drying this on the outside, but I'm just going to give this a couple more days of dry air inside the house, and then I'm going to jar this up. So just to give you an idea of how, you hear that crunch, so just a few more days, you know, just to be sure that all the moisture is completely out of this sorrel before I put it up in jars. And this is where we're going to end the video today, guys. If you're enjoying the video, guys, give me a big red thumbs up. Give me a big red thumbs up. And please, in the comment section down below, tell me what you appreciate about this video. And if you have done this before, if you have any tips and tricks as to, you know, share to young people like myself what to do, we really appreciate it. Have I told you guys I appreciate you? I appreciate you so much. I appreciate you, all my subscribers who subscribed already, and I appreciate those of you who are about to subscribe. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.